The unbelievable revelation. Ethan's eyes fluttered open. His head throbbed, his body felt stiff, and the air smelled strange, clean but artificial. He wasn't in his lab anymore. The cold, metallic walls around him glowed faintly, their smooth alien surface humming with unseen energy. His heart pounded. Where am I? A shadow moved in front of him. Ethan blinked, focusing on the figure. A woman? No, not a woman, an alien stood before him. She was tall, elegant, and terrifyingly beautiful. Her violet skin shimmered under the dim blue lights, and her golden eyes glowed with unreadable emotion. Her long dark hair flowed behind her like silk, and the armor-like outfit she wore only added to her powerful presence. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. He had heard of the Ziri, an advanced alien race, but he never thought he would see one up close. The woman crossed her arms. She was staring at him, but not with curiosity, with frustration. You are awake, her voice was smooth but firm. Ethan swallowed. Where am I? What's going on? The woman didn't answer immediately. Instead, she stepped closer, her piercing gaze scanning his face. Then she spoke again, her voice holding an unsettling finality. You have done something irreversible, human. Ethan's stomach twisted. What are you talking about? She exhaled sharply, as if trying to control her emotions. You made me pregnant. Silence. Ethan stared at her, his brain refusing to process the words. He almost laughed. This had to be some kind of mistake. That's impossible, he said quickly. I've never even. Your kind does not understand our biology. Her golden eyes burned into his. Ziri reproduction is unlike yours. A mere exchange of DNA through contact is enough to fertilize our kind. Ethan's breath hitched. Contact? But when? His mind raced back. He had been taken by the Ziri weeks ago. They called it a research exchange. They studied his DNA, his body's reactions to their environment. He had been touched, examined, exposed to strange tests. Had one of those tests. You carry the DNA of his the royal, the woman continued, and now you are bound to me forever. Ethan's chest tightened. No, this can't be real. This is a mistake, he said, shaking his head. You have to let me go. I need to get back to Earth. The woman tilted her head, her expression unreadable. Then she stepped even closer, her presence suffocating. You do not understand, human. Ethan tried to move, but something felt wrong with his body, something was different. You are already changing. He looked down at his hands. His skin was it darker than before? No, not darker. There was a faint shimmer to it, like the Ziri's own skin. A wave of weakness crashed over him. His knees buckled, and he grabbed the metal wall to steady himself. Your DNA has already begun bonding with mine, she said, her voice softer now. You are no longer just human. Ethan's mind screamed in denial. His body was changing. No, this was impossible. He was human, just human. His vision blurred for a second. His heartbeat sounded louder in his ears. He felt warmer, as if something inside him was waking up. He forced himself to focus on the alien woman. Who are you? Her lips curled into the smallest smirk. I am Princess Zyra of the Ziri Empire. A princess? Ethan's stomach dropped. If she was royalty, then this situation was even worse than he thought. And you, Zyra continued, stepping close enough that he could feel the warmth radiating from her skin, are my mate now. Ethan's breathing turned shallow. No. No way. This couldn't be happening. But deep inside, something told him this was only the beginning. The escape attempt. Ethan's mind raced. His breathing came in short gasps as he stared at Princess Zyra, the alien woman who had just shattered his world. "You are my mate now." Those words echoed in his head like a nightmare. He wanted to believe this was some kind of twisted joke, some bizarre misunderstanding, but the evidence was right in front of him. His body felt different. His skin shimmered faintly under the strange blue light of the alien chamber. His strength was off. His heartbeat sounded almost unnatural. But none of that mattered right now. He had to get out. Ethan took a step back, his instincts screaming at him to run, but as soon as he moved, Zyra lifted a hand, her golden eyes narrowing. "Do not make this difficult, human." Ethan bolted. His muscles burned as he lunged toward the metal door of the chamber. His hand slammed against its smooth surface, searching for a way to open it. There had to be a panel, a switch, something. A loud humming filled the air. Suddenly, a force threw him backward like he had been hit by an invisible wall. He crashed onto the cold floor, his head spinning. The moment he tried to get up, he felt it, his body wasn't responding right. His arms trembled. His legs felt heavier than before. Zyra stepped closer, watching him with the sharp patience of a predator. "You are already feeling the effects, aren't you?" she murmured. Ethan clenched his jaw. He forced himself to push past the weakness, staggering to his feet. "I don't know what you did to me," he growled, "but I'm getting out of here." Zyra's smirk didn't fade. She lifted her hand again, but this time, Ethan didn't wait. He charged at her. If he couldn't escape through the door, maybe he could overpower her. Maybe he could find another way out. The moment he got within arm's reach, she vanished. No, not vanished, she moved so fast his eyes barely registered it. 1 second she was standing in front of him, the next she was behind him. Before he could react, she gripped the back of his neck. A wave of heat rushed through him, sending fire down his spine. His vision flashed white. His body convulsed as an overwhelming pulse of energy surged through his veins. It felt like something inside him was activating, twisting his very cells. Zyra's breath was warm against his ear. "Your body is changing, Ethan," her voice was smooth, almost amused. "The more you resist, the more painful it will be." Ethan's knees hit the floor. He gasped, struggling to catch his breath. His muscles burned. His skin tingled like something was crawling beneath the surface. This wasn't normal. This wasn't human. He gritted his teeth and forced himself to stay conscious. "What are you doing to me?" he rasped. Zyra released him, letting him collapse onto his hands. She circled him slowly, studying him like he was an experiment, like he was hers. "Our bond has already begun," she said simply. "Your body is adapting to my DNA." Ethan squeezed his eyes shut. No. He refused to accept this. "Undo it," he said, voice sharp with anger. "Whatever this is, fix it." "I didn't agree to this." Zyra knelt beside him. "You still do not understand, do you?" She tilted her head, watching him closely. "There is no undoing it. You carry my child, and now you carry a part of me." Ethan froze. He lifted his head, eyes wide. "What?" Zyra's golden eyes gleamed. "Your body is not just changing, Ethan. It is merging with mine." A chill ran through him. He suddenly felt trapped in his own skin, as if something alien was slithering through his blood, rewriting him from the inside out. "It is only a matter of time," Zyra continued, standing once more. "The transformation will complete itself whether you want it to or not." Ethan's pulse pounded in his ears. He had to get out now. Ignoring the fire in his veins, he pushed himself to his feet once more. His balance was unsteady, but his determination was stronger than his failing body. He wouldn't let this happen. "I don't care what's happening inside me," he spat. "I will find a way to stop this, and I will find a way home." Zyra sighed, almost disappointed. You truly think you have a choice? Ethan didn't answer. He clenched his fists, his heart hammering as he turned toward the chamber's exit again. He had one last idea. He took a deep breath, then ran straight at the wall. The moment he hit it, instead of crashing into solid metal, he phased through it. For half a second, his entire body felt weightless, like he had slipped between dimensions. Then he stumbled forward, landing on the other side. Ethan barely had time to process it. His body had passed through solid matter. His transformation was farther along than he thought. But there was no time to panic. He was out. Alarms blared. The air around him flashed red as the security system activated. Zyra's voice rang behind him, steady and unbothered. "Run all you want, human." Ethan turned his head just enough to see her standing on the other side of the now transparent wall. Her gaze was calm, but her expression held a strange intensity. "No matter where you go, you will return to me." Ethan swallowed hard, then forced himself to keep running. Because no matter what was happening to him, no matter how far he had already changed, one thing was certain: he would not let himself belong to her. Not now. Not ever. The rising conflict. Ethan ran. His heart pounded against his ribs as he sprinted down the gleaming corridors of the alien palace. The walls pulsed with strange bioluminescent lights, reacting to his presence like they were alive. His body still felt off, stronger in some ways but heavier, like something inside him was shifting. But he couldn't stop. Alarms blared behind him. A deep, vibrating hum filled the air, security drones activating. He had escaped Princess Zyra's chamber, but he was still trapped inside her world. He turned a corner, nearly crashing into a pair of Ziri guards. Their tall, armored figures blocked his path, their glowing weapons already charging up. Ethan didn't think, he acted. His muscles moved faster than his mind, and before he even realized it, his body twisted unnaturally, dodging one of the guards in an almost fluid, alien motion. His arm shot out, knocking the other guard's weapon aside with surprising force. The moment his skin touched the guard's arm, a strange pulse ran through him, a flash of memories, images, thoughts that weren't his own. Ethan gasped and stumbled backward, his head spinning. What was that? The guard collapsed, shaking, his eyes wide with shock. The second guard hesitated, clearly unnerved. Ethan didn't wait for them to recover. He ran again. Something was wrong with him. He wasn't just stronger, he was different. His body was reacting in ways it never had before, and that terrified him. The throne room, an unwanted welcome. Ethan burst through a large set of doors, expecting another hallway, but instead, he found himself in the middle of a massive chamber. Rows of Ziri nobles stood on raised platforms, their elegant, otherworldly robes shimmering under the golden light. At the very end of the chamber, seated on a throne of living metal, was a towering Ziri male. His sharp, angular features were marked by age and power. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The Ziri Emperor. And seated just below him, on a smaller but equally ornate throne, was Zyra. She was already here. Ethan skidded to a stop, but it was too late. Every noble in the room had turned to look at him. For a moment, there was silence. Then a deep, resonant voice filled the chamber. "So, this is the human." The Emperor's piercing golden gaze bore into him. Ethan felt a strange pressure on his mind, as if the Emperor could read his thoughts just by looking at him. Ethan clenched his fists. He wouldn't back down. "You are bold to flee, human," the Emperor continued, his voice laced with amusement. "But you misunderstand something important." Ethan kept his stance firm, breathing hard. "I understand perfectly. I'm being held here against my will." There was a ripple of laughter from the nobles, light, almost mocking. Zyra stood slowly, descending the steps from her throne with graceful precision. "Held," she repeated, tilting her head. Ethan narrowed his eyes. You are not here as a prisoner, Ethan. She stepped closer, her presence once again suffocating. You are here as my chosen mate. The bond between us has already begun. Ethan's stomach twisted. I never agreed to this. Zyra's gaze didn't waver. Your body did. Ethan took a step back, his breath sharp. The moment our DNA merged, your fate was sealed. Zyra's voice was softer now, but it carried absolute certainty. You may resist, but your body is already adapting to life here. Soon, returning to Earth will no longer be an option. Ethan's chest tightened. Was that why his body felt so strange? Was that why he moved differently, why he reacted so fast? Was he truly changing? The Emperor leaned forward slightly, studying Ethan with curiosity. The first successful union between human and Ziri. A most unexpected development. But I wonder, a slow, eerie smile crossed his face, will you survive it? The challenge, an unwanted rival. Before Ethan could respond, a loud thud echoed through the chamber. A new figure stepped forward, a towering Ziri male in dark armor. His violet skin was marked with deep, jagged scars. His eyes burned with fury as they locked onto Ethan. This is an insult, his voice was sharp with hatred. Zyra sighed, turning slightly. Not now, Kale. Ethan recognized the name from earlier. General Kale, one of the strongest warriors of the Ziri Empire, and apparently someone who had been hoping to be Zyra's mate. Kale ignored Zyra's dismissive tone, his gaze locked on Ethan like he was nothing more than an insect. This weak, pathetic creature cannot be your mate, his voice dripped with disgust. He is not Ziri. He is not even worthy to stand in this chamber. Ethan gritted his teeth. He had no idea what the customs were, but he could already tell where this was going. You challenge my choice. Zyra's voice was icy now, her golden eyes sharp. Kale didn't flinch. I do. Ethan barely had time to react before Kale lunged at him. The next few seconds were a blur. Kale moved fast, faster than any human Ethan had ever seen. He swung at Ethan with enough force to crack the floor beneath them, but Ethan's body reacted on its own. His footwork shifted, unnatural, instinctive. He barely dodged the strike, his body twisting in ways it never had before. Kale's fists slammed into the ground where Ethan had stood, sending a shock wave through the chamber. For a brief moment, everyone stared. Ethan himself was stunned. He hadn't even been thinking, his body had just moved. The Emperor chuckled. Interesting. Kale growled, rage burning in his golden eyes. You will not leave this chamber alive, human. Ethan clenched his fists, forcing himself to stay calm. His body was changing. His DNA was merging with the Ziri's, and the entire empire was watching him now. This wasn't just about escape anymore. This was about survival. And if he wanted to survive, he'd have to fight back. The forbidden secret. Ethan's breath came fast and sharp as he squared off against General Kale. The massive Ziri warrior towered over him, his golden eyes burning with fury. The chamber was dead silent, the Ziri nobles watching like predators observing a hunt. Ethan wasn't just fighting for his freedom anymore. He was fighting for his life. Kale cracked his knuckles, his muscles coiling like a predator ready to strike. I do not care what mutation is crawling through your body, human, Kale growled. You do not belong here, and I will prove it. Zyra stepped forward, her voice sharp as a blade. Enough, Kale. Kale barely spared her a glance. His focus remained on Ethan, pure hatred etched into his face. If you truly believe this weakling is worthy, princess, he spat, then let him prove it in combat. Ethan's stomach tightened. A fight against an elite Ziri warrior? Ethan knew he was faster than before, that his body was adapting, but he had never fought anything like this. Kale wasn't just strong, he was a killer. The Emperor leaned forward on his throne, a gleam of amusement in his golden eyes. An interesting proposal, he murmured. Zyra's jaw clenched. He does not need to prove himself, she said. The bond has already been formed. Kale laughed, a cruel, mocking sound. Then you admit he is weak. Ethan's fists tightened. His entire body burned, not just with the strange changes happening inside him, but with something deeper. Rage. Fine, Ethan said coldly, stepping forward. Zyra turned sharply. Ethan, no. I'll fight. A ripple of excitement passed through the Ziri nobles. Kale grinned. Good. The Emperor raised a hand, and the floor shifted beneath them. The chamber rearranged itself, the walls expanding, forming a massive battle arena. This will be a proper duel, the Emperor said, his voice laced with amusement. No weapons, no interference. Only strength will decide the victor. The nobles cheered. Ethan swallowed hard. This was it. The fight begins. Kale moved first. He charged, his massive form a blur of speed and power. Ethan barely had time to react before a fist the size of a sledgehammer came straight for his skull. He ducked, barely. The sheer force of Kale's punch sent shock waves through the air. If it had landed, it would have crushed him. Ethan rolled away, his body reacting on its own. He was faster. Kale lunged again, swinging wildly. This time, Ethan didn't just dodge, he countered. His body moved strangely, fluid, like he had been fighting like this for years. He twisted mid-motion, his foot snapping up. Crack. His kick slammed into Kale's ribs, sending the massive warrior stumbling back. Gasps rang out through the chamber. Kale staggered, his face twisting in shock. Impossible, he hissed. Ethan's eyes widened. He had hurt him. But there was no time to think. Kale roared, his muscles pulsing with newfound fury. Enough. He launched himself forward, moving faster than before. Ethan reacted too slow this time. A fist slammed into his gut, lifting him off the ground. Pain exploded through his ribs. Before he could recover, Kale's hand clamped around his throat, lifting him high into the air. You are nothing, Kale snarled. A freak. A mutation. An accident. You think you can challenge me? Ethan gasped, his vision going dark. Kale's grip tightened. Ethan's mind screamed. No. Not like this. Then it happened. A surge of energy erupted from inside him. His veins burned. His skin shimmered. And suddenly, Kale yelled in shock. A pulse of power burst out from Ethan's body, hurling Kale backward like a ragdoll. The entire chamber shook. Ethan collapsed to his knees, gasping for air. The room was silent. The nobles stared, their golden eyes wide in disbelief. Kale groaned, struggling to stand. What did you do? Ethan didn't know, but he felt it, the bond, the power. He wasn't just changing. He was becoming something else, something new. And everyone in the room knew it. The Emperor stood slowly, his expression unreadable. Fascinating. Zyra stepped forward, her voice firm. The fight is over. Kale growled, his pride shattered, but he didn't argue. Ethan had won, and now the Ziri Empire would never see him the same way again. The forbidden secret, later. Back in Zyra's private chambers, Ethan sat on the edge of a glowing platform, still shaken from the fight. Zyra stood nearby, her expression unreadable. You are changing faster than expected, she said. Ethan clenched his fists. Tell me the truth, Zyra. What's happening to me? She hesitated. Then, finally, she spoke. Your DNA is merging with ours, but it is doing something different. Ethan frowned. Different? How? She stepped closer, her golden eyes serious. Our evolution has been stagnant for centuries, she admitted. But you are something new. Ethan's stomach dropped. You are no longer just human, Ethan, Zyra's voice was quiet now. And soon, you will not be just Ziri either. A chill ran down Ethan's spine. Then what am I becoming? Zyra's gaze burned into his. The first of something greater. Ethan swallowed hard because deep down, he could feel it. She was right. And it terrified him. The rebellion begins. Ethan sat on the smooth, pulsating surface of Zyra's chamber, his mind spinning. His breath was still uneven from the fight, but the thing that truly unsettled him wasn't the brutal battle with Kale. It was what Zyra had said afterward. You are no longer just human, and soon you will not be just Ziri either. He clenched his fists. Something inside him was different now. He felt it in the way his body moved, the way his senses sharpened, the way his blood pulsed with strange energy. Every time he blinked, the world felt a little too clear, as if he could see things he shouldn't be able to see. He needed answers, but before he could demand them, the chamber shook. A deep, thunderous boom echoed through the walls, followed by the shrill, pulsing wail of alarms. Ethan shot to his feet. What the hell was that? Zyra's face remained eerily calm, but her eyes burned with calculated urgency. We are under attack. Ethan's pulse spiked. What? Who would attack your empire? Before Zyra could respond, a violent explosion rocked the palace again. The walls trembled, lights flickering wildly. A panel on the far side of the chamber flashed open, revealing a holographic display. Ethan's stomach dropped at what he saw. Massive warships hovered over the Ziri capital, their dark, spiked hulls blotting out the golden skyline. Beneath them, swarms of fighters descended like an unholy storm, unleashing devastating energy blasts that turned entire city blocks into molten ruin. The palace shuddered under the force of the bombardment. Ethan turned to Zyra. Who are they? Zyra's expression darkened. The rebellion. The rebellion rises. Ethan barely had time to process those words before the chamber doors burst open. A group of Ziri guards rushed inside, their armor scorched, their weapons drawn. The leader, a fierce-looking soldier with dark markings along her violet skin, snapped to attention. Princess, the outer defenses are failing. The rebels have breached the palace walls. Zyra's jaw clenched. How did they get past our planetary defenses? The guard hesitated, then shot Ethan a sharp look. They claimed to be here for him. Silence. Ethan's stomach twisted. Me? Before anyone could respond, an ear-splitting roar of gunfire erupted from the corridor outside. Screams followed. Zyra reacted instantly. We move now. She grabbed Ethan's wrist, dragging him toward a hidden exit just as the main chamber doors exploded inward. The force of the blast sent shrapnel flying. Ethan barely managed to shield his face before a group of heavily armed rebels charged inside. They were Ziri, but their armor was different, darker, sleeker, built for war. Their leader, a massive warrior with silver tattoos across his face, stepped forward, his glowing blade humming with deadly energy. There he is. His golden eyes locked onto Ethan. Take him. Ethan didn't wait. Instinct took over. Before the rebels could react, he moved, his body twisting faster than it ever had before. He ducked under a blast, spun behind a guard, and crack. His fist connected with the warrior's chest plate, and the impact sent the rebel flying. Ethan froze. That wasn't human. That wasn't normal. The rebel crashed into a wall with a sickening thud, his armor dented, his breath rasping. The other rebels stared in shock. Ethan stared at his own hands. What am I becoming? Zyra pulled him from his thoughts. Move, she snapped, dragging him toward the escape passage. They barely made it inside before energy blasts rained down behind them. The door sealed shut, and Zyra slammed a hand against the control panel, locking it. For a moment, the only sound was Ethan's ragged breathing. Then he turned to Zyra. "What the hell is going on?" She exhaled slowly. "The rebels, they do not oppose the Empire itself." She met his eyes. "They oppose you." Ethan's blood ran cold. "Why?" She hesitated. "Because they believe you are the end of our species." The truth revealed. Ethan's mind reeled. He was the reason for this war. "That doesn't make sense," he argued. "I never wanted to be part of this. I didn't choose any of this." Zyra's expression remained unreadable. "But it has already begun." She took a slow breath, her golden eyes flickering with something dangerously close to regret. "Ethan, you are the first true hybrid between human and Ziri. Your DNA is not just adapting, it is evolving faster than we expected, faster than we can control." Ethan shook his head. "I don't care about evolution. I just want my life back." Zyra's gaze hardened. "That is no longer an option." He gritted his teeth. "Then what happens to me?" Zyra hesitated. Then she lifted a small, glowing device from her belt. "The rebels want to kill you because they believe you are unnatural." She took a step forward, "but my father, the Emperor, believes you are the key to something greater." Ethan's hands clenched. He didn't trust the Emperor. "And what do you believe?" he demanded. She didn't answer immediately. Then, finally, she whispered, "I believe that you are mine." Ethan's breath caught. Zyra continued, stepping even closer. "You were never meant to be here, Ethan, but now you are something that has never existed before, a being with the potential to reshape history itself." Ethan swallowed hard. He didn't want to reshape history. He just wanted to be free. But deep inside, a small, terrifying voice whispered, "What if she's right?" The palace shook again, another explosion rocking the foundation. Zyra turned sharply. "We must go now." She grabbed his wrist again, but this time, Ethan didn't resist. Because no matter how badly he wanted to deny it, the truth was simple: his old life was over, and whatever he was becoming, it was only just beginning. The final decision. Ethan sprinted through the underground tunnels of the Ziri royal palace, his breath ragged, his mind in turmoil. Explosions rumbled above, shaking the very foundation of the empire. The rebellion had finally broken through, and they weren't just here to attack the throne, they were here for him. He didn't understand it, didn't want to. "They believe I'm the end of your species," he had shouted at Zyra as they ran. "That's insane." But she had just kept running, her grip on his wrist tight, her golden eyes burning with something dangerous. "It does not matter what they believe, Ethan," she had said. "It only matters what we do next." Now, as they neared a massive circular chamber, Ethan felt the weight of those words settle over him like a storm cloud. Because for the first time since this nightmare began, he was starting to believe it too. The hidden escape, nowhere to run. The underground passage opened into a vast, dimly lit chamber. The walls were smooth and metallic, pulsing faintly with Ziri technology. A massive transport pod hovered in the center, its sleek black frame glowing with an eerie blue light. Zyra released his wrist and strode toward the control panel. "This will take us off-world," she said quickly. "We will be safe on the outer colonies." "No." Ethan's voice was sharp, his heart pounding. Zyra froze. Slowly, she turned to face him. "What?" Ethan shook his head. "I'm done running, Zyra." For the first time since he had met her, true surprise flashed across her face. "The rebels want me dead," he took a deep breath. "Your father wants to use me, and you," he met her gaze, "I don't even know what you want." Zyra's eyes darkened. "I want to protect you." Ethan exhaled sharply, stepping forward. No, you want to control me. Zyra flinched, but she didn't deny it. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, frustration boiling inside him. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know what I'm becoming, but I know one thing, I can't just disappear into the stars while an entire planet burns because of me. Zyra's jaw tightened. You do not owe them anything, Ethan. That's not true. His voice was quiet but firm. I may not be one of them, but I'm not just a lab experiment either. I'm not your mate or your pawn. Zyra's lips parted slightly, her expression unreadable. Then what are you? Ethan swallowed hard. I don't know. A long silence. Then, before she could argue, another explosion rocked the chamber. The door behind them burst open, and the rebels poured in. The choice, surrender or fight. The rebel commander, a broad-shouldered Ziri with deep silver tattoos running down his arms, stepped forward. His glowing spear crackled with energy. Human, he said, his voice sharp and unyielding, step away from the princess. Your fate has already been decided. Ethan's heart hammered. Behind him, Zyra tensed, ready to fight, but Ethan held up a hand, stopping her. What fate? Ethan demanded, stepping forward. Tell me why you're doing this. The commander's expression didn't waver. You are an abomination, his voice was steady. You should not exist. The bond between human and Ziri is unnatural, and whatever you are becoming, it will not stop here. You are already different, stronger, faster, and it will only grow worse. Ethan's fists clenched. You don't know that. We do, the commander snapped. Our seers have seen the future. If you live, the Ziri will change forever. You will not just become one of us, you will become more. And in doing so, you will destroy everything we are. Ethan felt cold all over. That's just a theory, he said, but his voice wasn't steady anymore. Because deep down, he was afraid they were right. The commander raised his spear. Surrender now, and we will make your death swift. Zyra stepped in front of him, golden energy crackling around her fingers. You will not touch him. Ethan's mind whirled. This was it, his final decision. He could surrender and let the rebellion end this before it got worse, or he could fight. His hands trembled, but not from fear, from power. He could feel it, his muscles thrumming with energy, his senses sharp as a blade, the strange, unnatural connection between himself and the Ziri world around him. Maybe the rebels were right. Maybe he was something new. But Ethan wasn't about to let someone else decide what he would become. He took a slow breath, then stepped beside Zyra, his eyes burning.